and welcome. My name is Flavia Wire. We are here yet to go through another session. We are going to talk about sustainability of the business enterprise vis-a-vis risk management. As a manager of your firm runs on your decisions. You have two categories of decisions. On one side, you have decisions that create, decisions that open, decisions that plant and want to maintain. Then on the other side, you have decisions that protect your enterprise. And these are the decisions that we are calling risk management decisions. Sustainability is an approach of looking at longevity of your firm and the strategies that will enable you stay on the firm. These may be social, economic, and other ecological strategies. So sustainability requires you to strive for long term, and this depends on whether you make the right decisions. Risk management techniques. In order for you to come up with the impactful risk management techniques, you need to consider two things. When you're considering risk, you look at the possibility of the risk of the event happening, and also the loss, the volume of loss, the corresponding loss that may come with it. If we look at it on the graph, certain events, the probability of occurring is very high, while the losses that we can make when it occurs are also very high. But the other way around, there are occurrences that are less likely to occur, while also the loss is low, but it can also be vice versa. How do we handle the risks then? If we go into the first scenario, where the risk occurrence is high and also the loss is high, we think of avoiding that risk. So as a farmer, we need to encourage them to list the risks they are thinking about that could happen in a season. And if there are those risks they identify to be high in terms of loss and also high in terms of occurrence, then the solution there would be to think of, how do I avoid the risk? Then the other occurrence could be high loss, but with very low probability of occurrence. And there we think about risk transfer. Risk transfer, we shall talk about it more in detail. How do we transfer? What are chances of accessing, for instance, insurance policies? Then there are aspects we can think of controlling risk, especially where the probability of occurrence is high, but the loss is low. We may think of, how do we control risk? What is the risk, for example? If the risk is having poor seeds, we can try to control this risk by looking out for high quality seeds. If the risk is soil erosion, we can think of, what can we do to mitigate soil erosion? Then the fourth area is where we have low probability of occurrence, but also low cost in terms of loss. And in that scenario, we can think of risk retention because we can manage it. I want us to go deeper into talking about the common risks that we see on our farms, and all of them connect to crop failure. For instance, when we talk about the risk of pests and diseases, we talk about the risk of climate change, We talk about a risk of intensive cultivation, that is over cultivation, a risk of soil erosion. We see all of them linking directly to crop failure. Then there are risks like that arise from monocropping, where many pests and diseases may come in so much because they are so accustomed to the same crop that you're growing. And then there are those that are purely external occurrences like floods, like droughts. All those are risks to consider. How do we control risk? Considering also its impact. For example, if we talk about soil preservation techniques like crop rotation, it is a risk management measure because we are going to retain the fertility, we are going to preserve the facility and think about continuity. We can also talk about pest control and avoiding outbreaks of diseases. That is a risk controlling measure. Diversification is a risk controlling measure, but also most important is the issue of saving, putting some income aside for future use. So when we do savings each time we earn resources, it is also a risky management measure that we do. In terms of risk transfer, we have an example of insurance. Insurance products are a big tool for households and businesses to manage the risk of sudden financial shocks, which cannot be covered by personal savings. Many times we do save, but when any big occurrence occurs, you find that maybe the savings cannot meet the gap. So insurance is a very good risk management procedure, and a significant decline in loss or low income and cash flow that may arise when there are such occurrences can be covered under insurance. How are we guiding them to select the insurance contracts from different insurance companies? They should, for example, consider the eligibility criteria. How do I qualify for this package? Under what conditions does the package apply? But also in the same vein, they should understand what excludes them, because many times you may sign up for a premium, it comes to compensation, and you find there is a clause that doesn't cover you. For example, age. They may say maybe this policy covers up to this age. So if you miss out that, it may not cover you, and different scenarios. Sometimes the company may be covering a catastrophe, and for you, if the occurrence has happened in only your garden, you may not be able to get the compensation. So exclusion criteria, eligibility criteria, benefits and services. What are the details? How do I benefit? What are the services under my contract? What about the price, the payment mode, and the possible follow-up cost? Now, when we talk about price payment mode, it may be in terms of compensating you, or on your side in terms of paying the premiums. So to sum it up, risk and how to manage it, it is important, first of all, for you to know the risk, the areas of risk that are likely to happen. List them up. You can rank them in terms of probability of occurrence and also in terms of loss. That is the best way for you to measure which one should be covered, which one should be avoided, which one should be managed. It is also important to know the different categories of risk, as we have mentioned. There are those that only require our discipline, like handling the pesticides, the risk to your health. You need to know the gadgets that you should be having a mask, having gloves. Given the different directions that we may have, it may be simple discipline, but it is a way of managing risk. Then when it comes to risk transfer, we talked about the issue of accessing insurance, where you need to know which insurance covers are available. But apart from knowing the cover, you need to know the eligibility criteria. How does it exclude you? How do you get to pay the premiums? How does the compensation come? So that you understand everything from the onset.